What's up, everybody? It's us. And once again, thank you for joining our table. We appreciate your constant support thus far. And always make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and share with all your friends. Like my brother said, thank you for all the support. And if you forgot, I'm Amar. That's my brother down there. And that's my dear old dad over there. And like last week, we were talking about Valentine's Day and our weekends. So I just want to ask them, how did y'all weekends go? Like, how did it go? How was it?
I don't know. Maybe you should kick it off. How did your weekend go?
My weekend was great. I had a good weekend.
It was great.
I ate good. I ate good all weekend. I went to work out some Monday, weighed in at 187.
Okay.
So maybe I need a little boy. Maybe I need a couple more Valentines in me to get some weight up.
Get that weight up. That weight up. So when you say you was eating good, were you cooking or were you door dashing it up? Which one was that?
Nah, we was cooking. We was chefing it up.
Oh, y'all was chefing it up? Okay.
Gordon Ramsay it up.
Chef Boyardee. Okay. Did you have some steak? You had some steak or some chicken or what?
On what day? Friday.
Oh wow.
We had Friday. Friday was pasta, but it was more shrimp. That was the main meat right there was shrimp. So but it was pasta, but it wasn't Alfredo though. It wasn't the regular. It was different.
You gonna love my shrimp?
Yeah. So and then Saturday was leftovers, so we made a big part of it. And then Sunday, we had stuffed peppers with chicken and rice. And the peppers, so yeah.
Okay, you gonna have to show me something. Did y'all make the stuffed peppers, or did you, say your dates make the stuffed peppers? How'd this go, man? Because I need to be put up on game.
It was even. It was even.
It was even. Okay.
Yeah, even.
All right. Yeah. Damn. Okay. So y'all definitely had a Valentine's weekend.
Yeah.
Weekend. What's up, Mir?
Nothing much. Weekend went good. Same as Mar. Mar and his partner. They fed me all weekend.
Oh wow.
they did a lot of cooking, but have fun with my plans. Mar had fun with his plans. We came together at one point and did some things together. So it was overall a good weekend.
Right. Okay. All right.
So you dad, or you was just chilling with Brock? You were just chilling with Bronco, our dog.
No, I'm smiling.
That's all you need to know.
That's all you need to know. I'm smiling.
That's good. That's good enough. As long as whatever you did, ain't got my dad frowning. As long as you smiling, we good.
There we go. But I see how you trying to play me. Talking about I was hanging out with Bronco all weekend. What'd you say, Mark?
Toe is probably still ugly from that pedicure. That curled up.
I got pretty toes. They long,
curled up. I said that long second toe that be curled up on that big toe.
Hey, y'all gonna get off my feet. Hey, but look it up. A long second toe. Look it up. I'm gonna leave it right there. But yeah, man, definitely a good weekend. It's great to hear that y'all had a good weekend, man. But how's your week been, man? It seems like it's been a crazy week for some people.
Yeah, it has been a crazy week. I mean, even for us, we getting back to the routine since COVID. We haven't really had consistent football workouts, consistent class schedules. Everything's been wavering since the spring of 2019. So, it feels good. I feel good to finally get back in the groove, being around my teammates, lifting 4 days a week, working out 5 days a week. I haven't had the consistent schedule, really, honestly, since COVID. And just getting back, slowly but surely things kind of coming back. I got one in-person class, that's an improvement from none. So it's like I have one in-person class. Just, going through the same routine of football class, fraternity, still doing things as far as holding meetings, events, even though the events have to be on Zoom, still staying active, not allowing COVID or these restrictions, to hold us back, so just happy to get back into some type of groove. COVID has messed, a lot of that groove up. So I'm grateful for that.
Okay. What about you, Mark? Your week been good?
Yeah, same thing. My week been good. I just I just been thinking about just all the snow we getting around the country, and not even in the state, just around the country, and just people in, especially in Texas, like the people in Texas, like going through what they're going through, and pipes bursting, and icicles coming through their house, and installation being messed up, and no running water. It's just no heat.
No
It's just
heat,
crazy.
no
It's just
food
crazy
at
to
the
think
grocery
about it.
store.
Yeah. It's just crazy to think about it because like we so like in Michigan, we so used to it, and like other states, they don't got the resources, not even like salt trucks to even help them out. So you know, all this
But
snow
I'm not gonna
around is
lie.
crazy.
I agree with everything you're saying up to that point, because regardless of where you at, you should have some preparedness plan for certain, because it's not like it's never snowed in Texas. It's not like the temperatures have never gotten cold in Texas. My point is they should have been more prepared than that. And I'm not talking about the citizens. I'm talking about, you know what I'm saying, the
People in charge.
Exactly. Exactly. So, but yeah, that is definitely an unfortunate situation, man. We definitely got a lot of snow, but I spoke to a few of my peoples down in Texas, you know, in the DFW area, in Houston, even down to the SA. You know, they've been going through some things, man. And I told them, you know, I felt bad because it took me a couple of days to reach out. I hadn't watched TV, so I didn't really even know what was going on. You know what I'm saying? And then when I saw it, I'm like, oh man. So I reached out. People doing good. They making do with survivors. Like I told them, hey, you may live in Texas now. You've been down there for a few years, but you from Michigan. You from Michigan. So you know what I'm saying? They hate the fact that you got to try to survive this way. But you know how to endure in the cold weather and the snow and ice and all that good stuff. So it definitely has been a crazy week. A crazy week. It was a crazy week for me because I had to get out there and try to shovel all that snow we got. But you know, I had to chip in, and
you ain't got us no more.
Snowblower, because I'm like, nah, man, I ain't as young as I used to, and I ain't got my two shoveling partners with me anymore.
That's Dad invested in the snowblower. That's crazy. We used to.
No, I didn't invest in the snowblower. The community went in on using somebody's snowblower. So,
oh, okay. I was about to say,
we resourceful in the hood.
Mario Peep, how Dad said shoveling partners. Boy, it was just us out there.
Well, okay, well y'all I was a supervisor. That's how that worked. I was a supervisor. But I'm just saying, you know, you had to put in your work. I did it for years. Now it was time for y'all to do it. But with two of y'all, man, y'all knocked it out, you know, fairly quick. Which y'all complaining about.
And we ain't complaining about that part. It's just how they gotta understand, like everything my dad everything he make us do is in steps. So like we was up early shoveling, and then it'll snow right back. We gotta go back out there. I'm like, come on, Dad, you could have let us just wait, just did it later.
Well, which is true, and for the most part, y'all did only shovel once. But when I forecast that said we was getting 8-10 inches, I would say go ahead and shovel them 4 inches right now, and then go shovel the other 4 inches later, because it's harder to shovel 8 inches at one time. You get what I'm saying?
You're right.
Yeah. I was trying to preserve y'all back. Never mind, don't worry about it. Come back home when it snow again. A lot of snow. And look and see what I do.
we gonna go thirds on the snowblower. That's what we about to do.
We gonna go third. I mean, a snowblower sounds like a very good Father's Day gift, a good Christmas gift. You know, my birthday is next week. You know what I'm saying? It's all kinds of opportunity to make this happen. I'm just saying, coldest month of the year, you know, but you know, it produced a cold piece of work right here, you know. So, you know, February, that deal.
Pisces season.
Pisces season, exactly. Pisces season. You know, we got a lot of range to our personality, so people tend to like us. We like to be people's best friends, but you know, we'll cut you at the same time. I'm just saying, don't play with us.
Y'all toxic.
Don't play with us. Oh, snap! Look who it is, everybody. It's the woman that made it all possible. Give it up for my baby's mama, Black Dog. What's going on, man?
I'm good. How you doing?
We great. Happy to have you.
I'm Natalie, and obviously I obviously the best looking one in this group right here.
Oh, she come in throwing darts.
I know Amir said that on the first episode, but obviously, come on now, like you have to get your look from me, Amir, obviously. So I know the older you get, you guys get, you look more like your dad, but you know, people always think you look just like me until they see your father and they're like, oh my God, they look like their dad. I'm like,
right,
yes.
right.
No, yeah.
That's funny because people think they look like me till they see you. So yeah, definitely a beautiful woman, and happy to have you on with us tonight.
All right, yeah. So the cool thing that about my mom coming on is, you know, they had us at a very young age. Mom, you was 19, dad, you was 22. So, and 22 years later, for you guys to still have this relationship between families, the relationship between generations together, as you guys still have your separate lives. Like my mom is married now, my dad, single, still out here single. So, but the thing is, the fact that we can still have these conversations together, the fact that our families still come together for family gatherings is big, and I think it's pretty dope, and I think it's groundbreaking, and I really think it's just life changing, because I tell people all the time, like, I'm just so prideful to have parents like that. So I mean, how you feel about that, Amir? I've always been appreciative because, you know, being able to co-parent, even though you guys were young, didn't have any type of, you know, true, I mean, you guys were in a relationship, but from as far as we've known, you guys have always been separated. So, you know, you separated young when we were young. So I don't even remember you guys separating. So we've always known you guys to be separate. But, you know, it felt separate but equal. You know, we had our time with you, Dad. We had our time with you, Mom. But you guys are still able to come together and do things together and truly co-parent, like a true co-parent, and not, you know,
It took a minute to get there.
yeah, I didn't see the involvement, but you know, the true co-parents, you know, Mom is still able to come to our grandmother's house, you know, your mother's house, Dad, and like be able to come to family dinners, and she, you know, is able to still be welcomed, and you were our side of
but
her side
even
of the
it's
family as
beyond
well.
that, the extended family too.
Yeah, her family as well. You know, you're always welcome. You're cool with her side of the family, and but the co-parenting part, you guys being cool and never having like true drama to where you guys had to separate, you know, us from both of y'all. You know, we never had that true separation. You know, we always, even though it was different roles, you know, Dad, you were more of the stricter one. I wouldn't say you were strict, but you were just hard on us. But you were the stricter one, and Mom was like you know, the less stricter one that let us do a lot of just a lot of fun things. You didn't have to do fun things too. Not saying that you didn't have us doing fun things, but it was just like, you know, a less.
Yeah, go ahead, clean it up. Go ahead.
No, I'm saying not because it's true though. We still did things with you though. Like
I got you.
but you were just harder on us. That's all I'm saying. You were just harder on us.
I brought that tough
more,
love.
you know,
Definitely brought that tough love.
yeah. And mine was the more of the comforter and the, you know, looking out for us as far as, like I said in the previous episode, you know, if I got in trouble, you know, I'm gonna call Mom, like, Mom, can you call Dad? Just talk to him. Like, just help me out a little bit, you know.
Right.
And I've always appreciated you guys for the co-parenting, because I get the, you know, the hardness and the toughness from you, but get the comforting side and the being able to talk to just women, period, talk to people, period. You know, the outgoingness of Mom is in me, honestly. You know, I'm more outgoing than Mars outgoing as well, but I get the outgoingness from Mom. I get my goofiness and jokeness from Mom, you know, my seriousness and, you know, locking in on things.
He just don't know.
He don't know.
The seriousness and locking in on things and being able to be on a straight and narrow path, you know, I get that from you, Dad. So it's like being able to get two things from a parent, but feeling like, you know, like I said, you guys are co-parenting, but it was like separate but equal, you know, and I always appreciated that.
Yeah.
I don't know if we necessarily intended to provide that balance, but it worked out. You know, it worked out.
It did. It was some drama along the way. Let me tell you. How you say your father was strict on you, he was the same way with me when it came to parenting y'all. So the same stuff he was giving me that same energy that he was giving y'all. We're gonna keep it real, you know. So the thing about it is you have to be willing also to compromise in those situations, because it's very difficult. You know, me being 19, having twins, first off, not having one baby, but two, at 19 years old was very scary. But your dad always told me that he would always take care of you guys and be there if he, for me, if I needed anything, and vice versa. So those things really did happen. Even though I never forget when you guys were born, your dad said, "We're not paying for college." And here I am pushing them out. I'm exhausted. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, is this what you want to talk about right now? Yeah, that's what I want to talk about. We're not paying for college. I said, okay. Now he's 21. In my mind, I'm 19. I'm like, what is he out? Light years ahead. I had no idea that it was going to be. But guess what? We're not paying for college. Okay, so they have scholarships. We're not paying for college. So that's just definitely true. Also, I just want to point out too that after having the boys, I sat down and I had a talk with Darrell, and we talked about as far as me going to college and getting my education, what will be best for us and the family. Now, for him, he said he saw in his 21 years of living that people regret certain things in life, and he didn't want me to regret not being able to have an opportunity to live in the dorms, to have a college experience and go to college and things of that nature. So while you guys were pretty small, how old would you say they were, Real? When I went to school?
When you went,
they were like one.
School? Yeah, barely one.
Yeah, they were barely one, and I went to Eastern Michigan University, and I stayed in the dorms. And your dad took care of you while I was at school. And in the beginning, I didn't understand. I would sit in my dorm and cry, and I was like, I got a whole family. Why am I here? Like, I'm in this dorm. People don't have kids. I'm here. I got kids. And then a lot of women, in particular in the family, made me feel guilty about it, to say like, oh, you should be home with your kids. Being a mother is everything. Why are you not there for them? You should take a job at a GM, things of that nature. And for me, it wasn't for me. GM just wasn't for me. I just knew I didn't want to work an assembly job. And I'm thankful for GM, because like a lot of my clients that I do nails for, they work at GM. So I'm not, no shade to GM. I'm just saying, like, if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be running. So for me, I'm just saying it wasn't something that was for me. So I wanted to always go to college and get a degree. So I was able to have that experience. But I remember crying and wanting to come back to Flint, and like, I don't want to be here. I just want to be with my kids. And I'll never forget, your dad, Darrell, called and he said, would you go to a party? Would you do something? You going down there to do what? Sit in your dorm and cry? And I was like, oh, Lord. I was like, so you telling me to go out and have yes, that's what you down there for. It's the college experience. Get the experience. So he didn't have to tell me twice. I went and got that experience, and I appreciate him for it, because I don't know how it would have turned out had I never got that experience. And at the time I didn't get it, but fast forward 20 something years later, I totally understand, but then I kind of understood it, but not to the magnitude that it is now. So I did like make college friends. I'm still friends with to this day. I went to parties. I was in the dorm. I was going to school, all the things that college students do. I didn't miss out on that. And I'm very thankful for that. So.
Yeah, definitely. I thought that would be a valuable experience. It wasn't anything that we planned on, but the last thing I wanted to be was an interruption, or, something that you look back and say that, I wish I could have done things differently. So, you know how I am. I'm always forward thinking. Sometimes it doesn't necessarily bode well for me, but I'm always forward thinking. And I try to consider other people. I didn't want to make it about me. It was about us. It was about me. It was about Nat. It was about our babies. And I knew at the end of this, I felt like it wasn't in our best interest to make this like the end. Like, oh, life is over. We got kids.
Well, that's how people painted it. They tell me, are you gonna be a mom, and you gonna be a single, and who gonna take care of them kids? Like, and you don't know if he gonna be there for you. And I never forget, my great aunt was telling me that, how he gonna be there for you and them kids? How he gonna take care of you? And I said, I just know. And she was like, you don't know that. And I said, okay, right. Got it. But right. But that's what people saw. Like, girls my age have a baby, the dad's not around, they don't have anybody there to help them with the children. And also, when I I'll never forget. I was pregnant with the boys, and I, you know, met your grandmother for the first time and your auntie for the first time. So we go to this family. So Darrell tells me, oh, it's a small, it's a small family gathering. You know, it's just a small family gathering. And we get there, and it's like 100. I swear it was like 120 people in this backyard. I'm like, where are we? So here I am. Hi, 18, pregnant. They don't even know me. Hi. How you doing? And I'm just terrified. Like, I'm nervous. I'm sitting there, and then your grandmother was, how you doing? And then your auntie, oh my goodness, oh, it's 2 of them. God knew what he was doing when he made 2, because we're gonna be crazy. And I was just sitting there like, what did I get myself into?
Right.
I had no idea, but it ended up, like, you know, being really good. Like, it really ended up being really good as far as like the extension of the family. And at that time in my mind, I said, well, I know for a fact if he's not there, they're gonna be there. So it's either or. I knew that it was a good family that I connected myself with, like, in a way. So, like, I mean, not in a way, but I did connect myself to a good family. It wasn't a unfortunate situation. So,
but you know, I was hell bent on proving people wrong, and you know how I am. You know how I think.
Yeah.
You know, so when that bothered me, that weighed so much on you about balancing other people's expectations and knowing, because before you even got pregnant, you expressed to me, what your outlook on life was, and I felt bad. So I wanted to not necessarily make it right, but I wanted to make sure I stepped up and played my part, because again, I don't want anybody to hold me back in life. So I definitely don't want to hold anybody else back in life. So I was hell bent on proving them wrong. So that was also motivation for me to really up and be a father, because I knew people were doubting me, and I wanted you to know, I had your back. I had your back regardless. You know what I'm saying? Just, we got ourselves in this situation. We're gonna wade ourselves through it one way or another.
Right. And then also, the situation I was living in at the time just really wasn't the best situation. With my mother at the time, like, she was selling drugs. I'm in a house where she's selling drugs. Let's just keep it real, and it was a lot of, like, in and out, back and forth, people coming in, things of that nature. Like, she would go to out of state leave me at home for a month. I was pretty much like fending for myself at that point, senior year in high school, which, I was used, well, I'm not gonna say I was used to doing that, but it was something very new, because my mother she wasn't into these things, like, when I was younger. It's just as we got older, those things happened. And then, a lot of that, my family got involved with that too. So most of my family was selling drugs. Like, and I just didn't want that. I didn't want that for my life, moving forward. But, like, it's public record. It's nothing that's a secret. My sister even talks about her story and how all those things went down. And a piece of me, like, I did not want my boys to grow up in that environment, obviously. So then I transitioned and moved with your dad when all those things transpired, because I didn't want to raise you guys in that house and have those cycles be repeated. So that's one of the reasons why we decided just to, at that time, to be together. And then I moved in with your dad, and then we moved on from there. I don't know if y'all knew that part, but I don't know if I told y'all that.
Yeah, I mean, you told us, but, like, I always say, like, I don't never remember you guys, physically together. Really, like Mir said, we don't really remember you guys being together, but the love was always there. So after you moved out, Mom, like, and Dad, what was the decision on how y'all were going to co-parent, and what was the conversation like?
Okay, so I remember that we sat down and we had a conversation, because your dad is big on sitting down and having conversations. We know that.
That's why we here right now.
That's why
the whole podcast.
We need to sit down and talk. I'm like, oh Lord. So, every time you say that, my heart would drop, because I'm like, oh Lord. Some serious conversations.
People say communication is key.
It is, but sometimes, I'm not the best communicator. I'm an avoider. Okay, you know that about me. I'm like, I don't feel like all of that. I get that from my mama. So I just kind of brush it off, and I just stubborn. And I just don't sometimes want to have those tough conversations. Now, me at 40, I don't care. Let's have it. But then, I was like, I don't want to talk. So we sat down and we had a conversation and we just said, you know what, moving forward, what does co-parenting, well, Jarrell said, what does co-parenting look like for you? So when we had this conversation, we just pretty much discussed what was going to happen. And one of the things we said was that when we got into a relationship with someone else, if they had a problem with us being friends and being close and co-parenting, then they're not the one for us. We both made that decision from day one. And then we were really young making that decision to even have those conversations.
And you don't even know how many enemies you gained. I was like,
I don't know. So those people obviously have to be willing participants, to be in this co-parenting structure as well. It's not just us. When we add other people in the picture, they also have to be willing participants with this whole situation, because it is different. Like, people don't get it. They say to me, wait a minute, so you go over to his mama house for dinner and his sister and they people and they buy Christmas gifts for your family? And it's, yes. And that's weird. Yeah.
And family, and you know how my grandmother was.
Yep.
Great grandmother, Gigi. We family, man.
Yes. And so people would always say, this is just so weird. I'm like, it's not weird. It's weird when you don't get along. That's what's weird.
Exactly.
This should be normal. This should be a normal thing. But, we have to break those generational curses and do things different than what our parents did, so we don't make the same mistakes that they did, so our next generation can move forward. And so I do remember us having those conversations and just, keeping things consistent. It was consistency was key. Now, I wasn't always consistent. Like when your dad would say, let's keep it real. He would say, make sure they do the homework. And you didn't look in their backpack and you didn't get the stuff out of there. Did you open the backpack and look in it? He had a note in there. And I'm like, oh, Lord have mercy. I'm trying to go to school, work, be a parent. I'm trying to figure it out. Then I'm like, oh my goodness, I didn't look in the backpack. I'm horrible. Like all those things. But when I say consistency, meaning if they get in trouble over there, they in trouble at your house too. If they're doing good at home, they're doing good over your house as well. If they're on punishment, that phone don't come with them when they get to your house. They don't get on the iPad. They don't get on the nothing. So those things, I'm like, okay, I did keep consistent, but other things, it's not as easy. It's not as easy to keep those things consistent, because when you're not together, you have a way of parenting and that person has a way of parenting. But when you come together and you're living together, you can make those decisions in the same household. But when you have two separate households, it makes it that more difficult. And the communication has to be there. So if he says okay, the boys didn't do this, they're not getting this, that's what will happen, so. Oh, hold on. Come here.
We got another special invited guest.
Yeah, man.
Say hi.
Now that's the real triplet right there.
Say hi. You see Amir and Amar? You see him?
What's up? What's up, duty?
Say hi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we heard Mom's perspective on co-parenting. So what was your perspective on co-parenting, Dad?
It's pretty much the same as your mom's. I know I can be a little anal retentive to when it comes to certain conversations, But again, I feel like some things were done for a good reason. When you start to project out and you look back on some things, I could have dialed it down a little bit, but it's your first go at it, right? So, you try to, you kind of treat things a little in more of a attentive manner, to where they may come off a little bit more serious than what they should be. So like I said before, if I did it again, I probably wouldn't do it the same way, but it was that important. I had something to prove to your mom. I wanted to make sure that she knew that I would always be there for her. I would always be there for you. I had to prove it to you guys as you got older. So that was my thing, was once I'm committed, once I'm locked in, that's what's gonna happen. You know what I mean? And that was my commitment to your mom. She was in school, she was doing a lot. I tried to support her the best way I could. I tried to, make sure we could keep it drama-free as best we could. Whatever she would need, if I could help, I wanted to help. I just wanted to make sure that she wouldn't look back and resent certain decisions in her life. And I definitely didn't want her to look back at you guys in a manner that, you know, she would think that it changed her life to where she couldn't realize her real self. So, I mean, even
and I did go through that. You know, I did go through that. You know, a portion of it. You know, I did have postpartum depression really bad, and I thought it was because I was so young when I had the boys. But fast forward, I ended up having it after I had baby Alex. So it's just something that obviously is in my DNA or hormones or whatever. But I do remember thinking like, I was young, you know, so having those thoughts of like, would my life turned out different if I, you know, never had children and things of that nature, you know, and that's just keeping it real. These are thoughts that I had at a very young age, you know, but the older I got and the more mature I became, I understood how important motherhood, you know, really is and really was. And I think it's just something you go through psychological when you're young. You don't know who you are. So you're questioning like, well, should I have done this? Maybe my life would have been different if I hadn't done this. And I think even with the opportunities that I had, I still had those questions. But you have to come to a self-actualization and a self-realization that like, listen, this is what has transpired. It's not the worst thing that's ever happened to me. You actually are the best thing that ever happened to me. And in those times and space in my mind, I didn't know that. So I had to go through some things in order to be able to, you know, be a better mom for you guys. So, you know, going to school. And I remember the boys will tell you when I graduated college, they remember our situation changing. They remember us living in the hood, let's keep it real, to moving to a better space when I started making more money. And they're like, oh, so for me, when they saw that correlation, they were like, whoa, okay, so you go to college, you graduate, and you get a better position in life, and then you can move forward or move wherever you need to go. But they came to my college graduation. And I remember, I think I was around 6 years old. If I think I look at the pictures, I was 6 or 7. My grandmother graduated from high school. And I remember seeing my grandmother in a cap and gown and going to the graduation. I remember the whole thing. And it wasn't weird to me that my grandmother was graduating high school at the age that she was, you know. And I think that image of seeing my grandmother graduate has always been in my head. So that's why I wanted to graduate from college, because it was something that none of my mother's kids had done. So I was the first, and then my sister Kisa, she's the second. But but I wanted my boys to see that. I wanted them to see me start something and finish it, because that's really what college is to me. In my opinion, college is about starting something and finishing something. Like, okay, yes, can you endure it? Can you go? Can you finish what you started? So once I started something and I finished it, I knew then I could accomplish a lot of things in life moving forward. And I believe that did make me a better mother. And also, you know, working several jobs while I was in college. At one point I had 3 jobs and going to school and, you know, being your mother. I don't know how I did it. I don't know when I slept.
Holding it down. Your mom.
Yeah, I don't really even remember, you know, a lot of things from that time, just because I was just going, because that's what I had to do. But you know, looking back, I wouldn't trade it for the world. Like, I wouldn't sacrifice the experiences that I had and raising you guys and quote unquote being the fun parent, you know. And Amir tell you a story. I asked him, what did I ask him a few weeks ago when you were home? And I said, I said, what's your recollection of when I disciplined you? He told me he was in the shower and I don't know what he did, but I hit him with a hanger or something. I said, Amir.
I thought she was always the good parent. I'm like, nah, Mom. I remember one time I stepped. I'm like, I forgot what I did though, and you was on me. I'm like, oh, right now, this ain't.
I see. So this ain't my mom. And then Amar, what did you say I did to you, Amar? It was.
You heard me cussing, and you made me wash my mouth out with soap.
Good. Yeah.
I said, okay, so I wasn't off, because I was asking them like, what? Do you have any memories of me being like?
Right. Well, I'm glad you did that because I'm not gonna lie. I don't know how quiet they used to think they would be upstairs, but I heard them. And I would hear them cussing, but that was one of the things I just kind of let slide. Because in my head, I was like, I'm tough on them on so many other areas. Whatever. Because I knew they was probably up there cussing me out, but it was like, whatever.
Dad, you were more of a yeller, to be honest. And mom,
I'm a yeller or just loud on the regular.
Yeller.
No,
Yeller.
no, you're not loud on the regular. You're yelling. You had me over here yelling. I'm like, what? I ain't do nothing.
Yeah. But yeah, Dad, you like when you disciplined us, you was more of a yeller, but mine was more of it was a stern but like comforting voice. So I could just give a story. Like I remember we went on the college tour my freshman year. Y'all had just bought me those beats for Christmas. The college tour was on spring break, so only like 4 months later. And I lost the beats on the college tour. And I remember talking to mom, like I told mom first because I knew it was I could not tell Dad. I told mom first, I'm like, Mom, like I don't know how to tell Dad. I really don't. She talking about something. Cause she was always like the one that was like, she was like, write him a note. I'm like, so I wrote him a note. I left it for him in the bathroom. And Dad was like, I appreciate you for that. So it was like things like that, like to where you had to navigate both of y'all. Cause like another reason, like Mom, you would take us on trips and you would try to show us the world. That was you was a big on that. Try and show us the world, try to show us this different, other things different than Flint. Like we went to California in 7th grade, like at a young age. And like we would go on trips, we would do a whole bunch of stuff, whole bunch of fun stuff. I mean, then we'd go on a trip with Dad. It wasn't like it wasn't fun, but Dad was like, well, we go on this trip, we going to this museum, we going to see this monument, we going to see.
Your dad always had an itinerary. We didn't have an itinerary. We just
my mom. Yeah, my mom was just go.
We went to Vegas and he had an itinerary. I said,
But
yeah.
But look, we went
We're
to
in
Vegas itinerary because I was trying to work around that heat. You know I ain't like being out there in that hot weather.
I'm like, we are in Vegas. That's still a running joke. My friends are like, where's the itinerary? Where's the itinerary? I'm like, Leanna will call me and be like, where's the itinerary? I'm like, don't do that. Don't do that. It's still
But the styles were different. Like mine was more go with the flow. Dad was more like goal driven and steps driven. That's what I always appreciated. It was always a great balance.
Like your mom alluded to earlier, we would have conversations quite often. But once we found our groove, you guys got into like middle schoolish, definitely into high school, your mom is your mom, I'm your dad. We understood our roles. And I felt like, during that week, I would try to give y'all as much as I could because I knew on the weekends it would be a release. I knew it would be a different role. You know what I'm saying? So I didn't try to play the same role that your mom was playing. And I, to the same point, your mom didn't try to play the role that I was playing. She let me be who I was as a father. I let her be who she was as a mother. And you're right. Once we got into our groove, I think we did find that balance as parents.
But it was a point in time too that your father started working on the weekends. So then I would have you guys on the weekends as well. You guys are with me all week. And I know that was a different transition. Different switch in the transition as well. But it was easier just because we lived by the middle school. So they could walk to school from where we were. And I remember the reason why actually I moved over there, because I was actually going to move somewhere else. And your dad and I sat down and had a conversation. And he was just saying like, it would be easier because somebody broke into my home and I had to move. I didn't feel safe there. So I had moved in. It was a transition period where I moved in with your father for like, we moved in with your dad for like a couple of weeks, or was it a month? It might have been a month.
Something like that. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, it's like a month or something like that. And I never forget the boys used to ask me back then, like, I want y'all to get back together. I want y'all to get back together. And so we lived there for about I think it was like week 3. I don't know. I can't remember if it was Amir. It was Amir or Amar, like, Mom.
It was me. Yeah.
Yeah, Amir was like, Mom, when we leaving? I don't think I like this. And I said, you don't like it? He said, no, it's like 24/7. Like, he was like, I don't like it. He was like, I don't think I like this. He's like, I like it the way it was. We need to, when we moving out, when you moving out. I was like, son,
that release.
It's happening.
Right.
I said it's happening or whatever. But even the fact that we were able to do that, I look back and I'm like, I didn't even realize, like, you were just like, come on over here. You don't feel safe over there. You scared, you know, because I just, like, once somebody breaks into your home, you just feel violated. You don't feel safe anymore. And I'm a single woman, and I have my boys there. I just didn't feel comfortable or safe. So I did that. And then that's when we made the decision to move over by the middle school, because the boys were going to transition into Carmen Ainsworth. So we were over there. And so it was easier for them to walk to school from the apartment from where I was. So that whole transition was smoother that way, you know. But it was it was a lot. I'm not gonna lie, it was a lot, because I was used to. Let's just keep it real. I was used to your dad doing everything. He is Mr. Mom, okay? So like when he says that term, Mr. Mom, it's the truth, because let's keep it real. I was used to him doing everything. Like you know, they boys are asking me questions. I'm like, maybe we talk to your dad. I'm not for sure, because he had you guys, like he said, Monday through Friday until that transition happened with General Motors when he's working at GM. And then I had you more than I did in the past. So it was a shift for all of us, you know. Then I had the new job and trying to navigate those things too, running an assisted living and trying to be the director there, and then doing this at home and making sure I have everything together and cooking and making sure you're making it home. When you get from school, you're doing your homework and things of that nature. So your dad had already had you trained. So at that point, you know, you would get home, do what you had to do. And I remember football, you know, I honestly, I only went to a few practices. I don't know what was, I was not a football person. I was like, okay, your dad got it. I don't know what's going on. I'll be at the games. You know, I'm gonna be late, but I'm gonna be there. Okay, I have the whole family save me a seat so I can get there and squeeze in. But I was there, and it was very exciting, you know, watching you guys on the football field, especially in high school, middle school, really too, when coach.
But let's be honest. Our conversation about where you would live after the break-in, after you know everything was going better, was about that opportunity to gain a scholarship, right?
Right.
You know, so we talking late elementary, early middle school. You said my head was always a few steps ahead. You know what I mean? So
yeah, and I didn't see it that way. You know, I didn't see it that way at the time. I remember being upset because I was like, he can't tell me where to move. And now you gonna tell me where to move. I had a whole attitude about it. Because you were like, you need to move over there because this is the opportunity the boys are gonna have. And I was like, dude, I can move where I want to move. You can't tell me where to move, but I end up doing it anyway. Okay, because I just it's for the boys. The bigger picture is for Amir and Amar, and you know, and I had to. I mean, it was easy. Just like I moved over by your elementary school, so you can walk to school over there. Like it was just an easy decision for me to make. As far as like moving in areas where you guys could be accessible to your school and live in the neighborhood. I've always wanted to see. I never had that experience growing up because we moved so much. I went to like about 7 different elementary schools. So for me, when you guys were in elementary school, I wanted you to go to the same elementary school, because I remember in going to Southwestern, and people in 7th grade, people would tell stories about, we went to Sobey, or we went here and we was all together to Merle. And I'm like, yeah, I went to like 7 elementary. I don't have those same experiences. So I wanted my boys to be consistent at the same school, kindergarten through 6th grade. That was very important to me. So having them be able to build those relationships with kids in that neighborhood was a good thing. Your grandmother, you know, lived in the area, but it's different when you live there. But I always wanted to, when I had kids, I wanted them to live in the neighborhood where they went to school and be able to walk to school. And those small things were important to me because we moved so much growing up, and I didn't want that for you guys to happen. I didn't want your childhood to be all over the place, where you're living here and there and everywhere, but you had the same kindergarten through 6th grade, the same school. And I'm very proud of that. Like that's something that we accomplished, and you have those memories from elementary school because you went to the same elementary school, the same building, and those consistencies make you a better student. it makes you better at everything that you're doing because the teachers know you. The faculty, obviously the principals know you. Everybody knows who you are. So it just makes it a lot better being consistent and not moved around everywhere. So, and just like moving to Carmen, that district over there, being able to, you guys have relationships that you built there with kids from that time, and you guys are still friends. So those are things that were important to me because I would be jealous of other kids when they would have these stories about elementary school, and I'd be like sitting in the cafeteria at Southwestern, like, oh. I went to Dork, I went to Civic Park, I went to Wilkins, I didn't have an experience like that. So I just wanted that for you guys.
Yeah. So obviously you guys can see how our personal experiences growing up influenced some of the decisions that we tried to make in raising you guys. So, you know, when you look back on it, we can laugh about it now. You know, there's some things obviously we wish we would have done a little differently, but we made it work. We made it work. Whatever we define as success for ourselves as individuals, define as success for you as our children. You know, success is not a straight line. You know, it has a whole lot of, you know, twists and turns and bends and everything else. So the point is, do you get to where you want to be in the end? You are a successful business owner. You are doing your thing. Would you mind telling that story when you were pregnant and how it used to get on your nerves to make sure you went every day?
To make sure I went to nail school every day?
Because what you remember I used to tell you, you never know. You just want to make sure you can have something to fall back on. Remember?
Right. And my mother was also a facilitator with that too, because she was like, yes, it's cool you getting a degree, but you need a trade and you need something to fall back on. And your dad drilled that home too. You know, he said, you need something to fall back on. You need something to fall back on. And I remember being pregnant, and I did my freshman year, first semester at Eastern Michigan, when I was pregnant. And everybody's like, oh, you're pregnant with twins? You know, and I thought people were going to treat me weird. Nope. People in the dorm rubbing my stomach, bringing me food. My roommates didn't find it weird at all. Like, it was very odd that everybody was just comfortable, because I'm like, I'm a pregnant teenager. Like, what, you know, but nobody cared. And even my RA would bring y'all food. You don't even know that. He would cook food and bring it down there and say, give us to the twins. I'm like, okay. So but at any rate, I ended up, the second semester of college, I ended up opting out. So I came home and I went to nail school. And I remember my mother taking me all around to all the schools. Darrell took me to a couple schools. I was like, no. It's something I didn't even want to do. I didn't know how to do nails. I didn't want to do nails. I was like, I am not a nail tech. I don't know how to do nails. This is not a good idea. This is so stupid. You know, these are all the thoughts you have when you're 18. You don't know. And my mother pretty much took me to the school and signed me up and said, this is where you're going.
She signed you up, but what else did she do? And I appreciate her. I was pissed at the time. I appreciate her for what she did. Whatever the deposit, whatever it cost to get you started.
Yeah. She made the deposit.
But then there was nothing else after that. But my point,
no, she did not.
We figured it out after that. We made sure that it got paid. I forget if it was weekly, monthly, or whatever. We made it because I like the fact that she started it and she made us step up to the plate to make sure we finished it. You know what I'm saying?
Right. I finished school and I ended up doing nails. Well, I worked retail in college. I was a manager at a retail store in college. And then I also did nails when I was in college also too, because I wanted a career. I didn't want a job when I was in college. So I worked at that salon in the Belleville area for almost on and off for 10 years. 10 years I ended up staying at that salon on and off, and I still talk to those girls. But anyway, I said all that to say, I finished college and ended up being in healthcare administration. And then it was a lot. It was a lot of stress, and I ended up getting fired. And then I just kept trying to find a job in that field, and just nothing was working out. So I went back to doing nails because I had something to fall back on. So I went back to doing nails, and I did nails. I never thought I could really make money doing nails, but I never gave it my all. I never did it full time. So I wouldn't know how much money I could make, really, to be honest with you, until I did it. And then I realized being self-employed, the income is, it's no cap on it. Like if you want to stay at work till 11 p.m. and keep making money, you do that. If you want to leave at 5 and you don't want to make it, you do that. It was no cap on it. So I didn't, because that was what scared me, actually, because I knew when I was working in corporate, like, okay, I just check on Friday, every other Friday. I know how much it's going to be. I know how to, do my bills, things of that nature, what I'm going to pay. But when you're self-employed, you take that leap because you have no idea. Like you have no idea what you're going to make when you first start. You're like, oh, it's really scary. So at any rate, I just plugged away at it and then sat for days. Look at this.
He like, I'm gonna get a star and roll one way.
Right. I sat for days and then built my clientele and then went from there. And now I started my own salon, my husband and I, in 2018, 810 Nail Bar, and it's located downtown Flint. So that's where we are, but that's what I'm doing now.
So I want to make sure that you know that you have motivated me.
Oh,
You have motivated me. I am super proud of you. I'm super proud of you and your husband. But
thank you.
guys going out there and making it happen, I watched you grind to go from working from somebody else to working for yourself to building your own brand. I am super proud of you, and I've been motivated. I mean, if you haven't noticed,
Thank you.
you went to school, you guys are, but remember, I called you when I was contemplating leaving GM, and I said, hey, look, I held you down while you went to school. Remember that? I need you to hold me down because I'm gonna make a life-changing decision. And
Right.
I'm sure about it, but I just need to know that you're with me. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
My back. And I appreciated that. And like I said, to this day, you motivate me now because I look at how you're moving. I always love that. And that's something I'm trying to incorporate into my life right now. So I just want to make sure that you know I'm learning from you. Not only from Amir and Amar, but I'm learning from you as well.
Thank you.
I think it's gonna help me personally on this next phase of my journey. So
I appreciate the fact that we were able to have this conversation, that you guys were able to be so transparent at a young age, even though mom didn't see it, even though dad, you probably didn't even know what you were really doing, but you knew what you were doing, but you didn't, to come to the point where, you were building off mom at one point, and now mom was building off you at one point, and now you're building off mom, to see, and we're building off you guys, and you guys are building off us. I feel us as a family, and like you said, like, my mom, people that's watching, my mom, she's married, like, but she still has that appreciation for my dad. My dad has that appreciation for her, and he doesn't disrespect her or her husband, but we're still able to keep things real and keep family, so that we're all able to keep advancing, no matter we're in college, you guys are in careers, having businesses, honestly, me and Mar, we say we want to be like dad, we want to be like mom, so we're going to continue to strive towards that. And appreciate, that mom, you're able to come. Appreciate for just everything, for the parents and everything, and getting this started so we can, have something of our own, and we most importantly, we appreciate the viewers, the people that's watching, and we thank you again for watching another episode. I had a good time. Did you guys enjoy it?
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
yes.
Like we said, me and Mir appreciate y'all too a lot. One thing I can say is that the people we are now is from you guys collectively, and the older you guys get and the older we get, we realize the stuff we do that's stem from y'all. And I think the best thing we had was a representation in our household at all times. Like, mom, you went to college, stopped, went back and got your degree. Dad, you never went, but you went back and got yours, master's degree at that. Mom, you got a bachelor's degree. Mom, you opened your own business. That's something Dad always taught us. So for you to open your own business, you can help us open our own. For Dad, for you to get a master's degree, that shows us that, man, we can get a master's degree. Everything y'all doing is showing us that we can do it within our family because we've seen it before. So we just appreciate you guys from being that example and that standard for us, so we don't have to look elsewhere for that standard. It's right here in our face when hop on the phone. So we just appreciate you guys. And also, like my brother said, we appreciate the viewers.
Now, just remember this. We didn't know what the hell we was doing. Doing what we was doing. I'm just being, but we just kept doing what we was doing. We figured it out. You know, we kept plugging away and we figured it out.
It doesn't mean you guys do what we did and try to plug it away and figure it out. Okay.
Right.
I'm not ready to be a grandparent.
Right. Right. At all.
At all.
Look,
I'm too young to be a granny.
He's coming up.
You know what I'm saying? I'm too young to be a granny out here. You know, like I don't want your kids. I don't want your kids being the same age as mine. You know what I'm saying? I gotta keep all of your kids. Like they like, what's one more? What's one more, mama? No. Okay.
Right.
I ain't ready. I'm 40, right. About to be 41. I'm not granny mode right now. I'm on mommy mode. Okay.
It's Pisces season for y'all too, so you know.
Oh yeah,
baby.
Yeah, 40. I'm 41.
And then
approaching the big 4-4. So.
Really?
I'll be 4. Yes. Next.
You getting old?
Yes.
You getting older. I'm getting younger.
You getting older. I'm getting better. How about that?
All right.
Thank you guys for watching another episode. Thank you guys for joining our table. And this is my family, our family to you. No, thank you.
Say bye-bye.
Say bye, Duty. Yeah.
All right. I love y'all. Everybody have a good weekend. I'll let y'all later.
All right. Love you too.
All right, do.
Round and round.
Roll on. Everybody.
That is not the song. He said, that is not the song. He's doing Wheels on the Bus.
Oh, my bad.
So Wheels on the Bus go round and round. Hey, round and round.
Hey.
We know some hood stuff though.
Right.